I'm gonna hit record.
Oh, perfect.
So this is we can consider this to be an unboxing video. That'll be the title of this one. And so as you're unboxing, oh, this is such a good idea. I didn't do this with the other guy from Australia. He had already unboxed, so things were all over. But now we can do it together.
Ah, I love it.
It's nice. It's nice. Okay. So I usually have them put a little fragile sticker, and I kind of write fragile on it. It's not really fragile, but I just don't want them kicking it down the street.
No,
Not that they would do that. Our post office, I love the post office.
Save the post office, but I agree.
The post office, please save the post office. Okay, let them save us. And yes.
Mutually.
Okay. All right, so opening it up, you have your plans right there, which I have here also. And that's basically just to flip through the plans real quick. That's basically what the toilet's gonna look like in the end. You have a little, guide of the pieces. You have the shell, the interface, the drum, and the stool. Those are like the main constructed pieces. And then you have some detailed drawings of the drum and all the pieces that go into the drum, how you assemble it. The next is going to be the interface and all the pieces that go into the interface and basically how you assemble that. And then there is the shell. All those are that's basically your piece of plywood, and that's how that's like the optimal layout that we have found, and that gives you a little bit of extra area in case you make any mistakes. You could always recut. Then you basically, we're starting out with like the big pieces first. Those are the dimensions of the two sides. Next one is the dimensions of the top, how you have to cut that. And that, takes some jigsaw work. You see those little like curved areas on the inside. So there's a little bit of jigsaw work, but it's mostly straight cuts. The next page is your front and your base with the straight cuts with a core through for the front. The next page you have the door, the step. Then the next page you have the back, which has a very detailed area where your ventilation's going out, your drainage is going out, your electricity's coming in. So that area we did a little blow up so you can see really clearly how that's supposed to be. The next page is there are top supports and there are step supports. And those are in there basically for the top to actually, well, it's for support. But then it's also as a guide to when you're putting it in place that everything is centered and everything exactly is where it needs to be. Then you have your plunger block, which is basically where the rod sets so that your toilet is in the right orientation. That's a small piece. Then you have your stool and all the pieces that go into that. And then finally you have your assembly guide, which is once you have everything cut, this is the optimal way we found to put it together. Sides go to the back, bottom goes on, front goes on. Then you put in your support for your step. You put in your step, and then your door. Actually, the door first, then the step, then your plunger block. Then you put your supports on your top, on the underside. And then you put your top on, and it'll fit like nice and snug, and then you screw it down. And that's it. So that's basically how you go through the whole process of putting it together. Any questions up till now?
Looks good.
Yeah, awesome. All right, so you have a toilet seat. Mayfair, it's actually just the right size. It's just fits just right. So this is the only one we use. It's also very inexpensive if you need to swap it out ever. So that's your first item. And next we'll start with You have hardware on top, so we'll start with hardware. So we'll start with ventilation stuff. So this is ventilation pipe that it's like a dryer vent. Basically, that's going to connect to your toilet and go outside. And the way that connects to the toilet is with this little adapter. So you'll see this adapter fits over this. Something like this, a little better. So the way we're going to video is we'll probably both have our heads partially cut. Your head is totally cut off.
Yeah, I know. I can't get both.
It's fine. It's fine. My head is now going to be cut off because I'm going to do what you're doing because it's better. So basically this fits on here. This part goes against the back of the toilet, and it's, you know, the hole that you cut is just that size. When you come out of the toilet onto the outside, this is going to be your vent fan.
Okay.
Large white piece. Yep. And those get secured with these large worm drive clamps. It should be in one of the hardware bags. There you go. Okay, so now you got all your air ventilation stuff, except for the, actually let's go through the fan too. So you should have a box with a little adapter and a fan that looks like this. Yep.
And then, yeah, got it.
Right. And then there should be a little adapter on the tip of the fan that allows you to plug in this piece here, like so.
Okay.
That might be further in the bag, but you'll find it. It's just this little guy. Well, let's go into those, and then we'll come back to this little piece. So those are going to be our intro into the hardware. So this is Loctite. Loctite is basically what you put on the threads of the nipples that are going into the flanges on the drum to make sure that once you're ready to have it set permanently, you put this on, and it's kind of like glue for threads. And it makes sure that it doesn't unspin over time, like due to vibration, especially going in an RV. Vibrations will make things unscrew. So this is a way to make sure they don't unscrew. That's your Loctite, important. Let's go to the drainage. So for your drainage, you are going to, okay, so in your hardware, you're gonna find an angle iron that's about 3 inches. Looks like this. Yep, so that's gonna be on the inside. That's gonna hold your urine diversion tube, which is gonna look like this. So it's a 1 inch 90, yep. And then you're gonna have another 1 inch 90 that's gonna actually be angling down. That's gonna help with your drainage. So those can all go to the side. And the piece that's going to be screwed into the interface to drain out your liquid is this little nipple. It's threaded on one side and it's solid on another. It's about 1/4 inch. Yep, that's it. So that's all part of your drainage. Those 2 90s, the angle iron, and then the nipple. And then you should have 3 pieces of tubing in there. One of them is small, and that is one that is going to be your primary drainage. Yep. So it basically, the nipple drains into the small piece, and then you have a long piece where that's the throw to get it out of the toilet. And then you have this medium-sized piece, which is going to drain you down into your container. So three pieces of the 1 inch tubing. Okay. How are we doing so far? Any questions now? Are we good?
No, I'm having fun. I feel like this is a huge seek and find, or like hide and seek.
Yes, yeah. It's and it's all working out. This is nice. All right, so oh, this is another drainage piece. This fits the tubing coming in fairly loosely, so you can like remove the container, and then this fits over the top of your container. So, and we'll get to that later, but that's basically like an adapter to get it into your container. Continuing on the drainage front, we have this little crumb cap. This is it serves as a filter to keep debris away from the nipple. That is your primary drainage point. Perfect. So that goes there. And then your tubing is actually secured to the angle iron when it's inside the toilet. There's this small worm drive clamp that goes on top of here, and it's basically just to make sure that it stays in place. Yep, perfect. So that's all set. We can now go to, there's this quick seal. It's like a sealant. Yep. That is, you're going to use on your interface after you build your interface, just to go inside the cracks and basically make sure it's watertight. That's what that's for. Okay, actually you'll have 2 Loctites. One is full strength and one is medium strength. So basically red is full strength, blue is medium strength, and we'll get to later, because there are some fittings you never want to come apart, use your red. And there are some fittings that you want them to stay secure, but at some point you may, with effort, want to take it apart, and that's where the blue comes in. Okay. Okay. So now we are going to talk about a couple more hardware items. First, you have your bolt to secure the door. It's like a slide bolt. Are you still there? You froze up. Hello. Hey, welcome back.
Sorry about that. My computer just shut off, but we're back.
That's all right. We're back. We're back at it. And I paused again, so all is well. All right. Back to the hardware. We have 2 flanges. No, 2 hinges. Sorry. These are for the door, the flap door. Great. That goes in the front. There's a slide bolt. I think that where we left off was we got to the Loctite, and then we were just about to get to the slide bolt, and that's when things shut down. So this is your slide bolt to secure your door. You have a knob that's to open up the door. Great. You have a couple of U-bolts that look like this. These are what secure your flap door and allow them to swing. Great. And then you have a square drive bit that's going to go for your drill, and then you have the other bit which is to pre-drill. So those go together. Great. Yours is a little different, but it's the same square drive bit, essentially. Okay. Then we get to some bigger hardware, which is the parts that go on the drum itself. There's a unit looks like this. Yep, perfect. So you have all the fittings on there. And then you have, and just so you know, this piece, when you are going to screw it in, is going to be one of those that is going to get the red Loctite. And then these are going to get, actually these won't get Loctite at all. And then this going into the flange will get the blue Loctite. And we'll get to that later. And this one's going to get the blue also. So you see this one goes on the back and this one goes on the front. Yep, you got it. Okay. Then you have your screws. So you should have a bag filled with 1 1/4" screws. And that is going to be to secure your shell. So those are plenty big to screw together a 3/4 inch plywood box, essentially. You have these black screws, which are for the interface and for the drum, basically to construct all your plastic pieces. Those are right sized for that. And then you have a smaller miscellaneous hardware bag, and those are for other things that need to be installed. So 3 bags of screws. And then we're ready now for your polyethylene pieces that become the drum and the interface and the poop shelf. Okay, so you've got 2, this is your front and back of your drum, 2 octagonal pieces. Yep, so the flanges are already installed, ready to go. So those can go to the side. You're gonna have panels. So you're gonna have 6 panels with no holes in them that look like this.
With no holes?
No holes. There's going to be one that's going to have 2 sets of holes, which you can see there, and that's for the that's where the door is going to hang. So that one's a little different. And then there's going to be a small one that's like half-sized, another square.
Yeah, these 2.
Yep. Yep, and yours I already installed your support, so that's why it looks a little different than this. And then you have the door there too, which is great. So your flap door is there. And that's it for the drum. And then you have your interface. So you can have slightly smaller rectangular pieces that have this sort of groove on the inside. Yep, those are your sides of your interface. And then your front and back are going to be like these little trapezoid kind of things. Great. And then this piece, it kind of looks like a square, but it's a very specific kind of off square piece. And it's part of the interface.
I have only these 3 squares.
Okay, so the square on the very bottom. Oh, I see. Okay, great. So you see one of those is square and one of them is a funny shape. Right. That funny shaped one is part of the interface. And I already attached the piece that goes on the back. So yeah, so you got that. So that you have everything you need for the interface. There should be, hold on. You should have 4 of these little angle irons. Yep. So those are going to help. Those are going to secure your interface so it doesn't fall down into the shell of the toilet. And it's a modified design. We've also, in some, for other people, if they're watching this video, there's another system where we have this ledge that we install on the interface to keep it from falling through. But the angle irons are a nice, elegant solution for that. And I think that, just to backtrack really quickly on the drum, there are 4 pieces of polyethylene that look like this, like rods. Right. So those are your first step in constructing your drum. These are like its ribs.
Okay.
And then finally, you have the poop shell, right? And that is basically gets installed, so the poop only goes into the drum. It doesn't go along the sides. And then you have your bin, your busboy bin, and that should be everything.
Yeah. No, that looks like everything.
Yeah.
What I couldn't find was this adapter.
Oh, it's on there already.
Oh, okay.
So that little piece at the end comes off, and it's plugged into those 2 wires. It's basically just to adapt it. I mean, you could hardwire it, but that's just easier. That plugs right into your adapter. And then that plugs into the wall. But in your case, if you're in an RV, I don't know if you're going to have outlets. If you want to hardwire it DC, then you don't need the adapter at all. You just hardwire it into your system with a switch. Or generally, it'll just run continuously. But it'd be good to have a switch on it in case you ever want to change it out or do something.
That's perfect.
Right
now, it's an electrical sense of mind, so it's a 12-volt DC, so sounds great.
Yeah, no, you're right on. And it's a very low amperage, that fan. I think it's 0.12 amps or something, like 0.12 amps. So it's a very small draw in general. All right.
Awesome.
That's your TFP Eco-Throne DIY kit. All unpacked. It's like Christmas morning.
It feels like that. It also feels like there's a couple YouTube people who are really big. My sister watched that unbox things.
Okay.
So that was my first unboxing. It's
Oh.
Just excited and you do a whole bit. But yeah, no, this was fun.
I never knew about the unboxing, but it is kind of a fun process.
Yeah, it kind of is. You're like, okay, what's inside? Ooh, let me see. Yeah.
It is exciting. So now, I guess the next step for you is to give a shot at putting the stuff together, the drum and the interface, and then if we'll set up another Zoom call for any questions you have, any troubles or difficulties, and then in parallel you could start working on the shell, or you could wait to finish the drum, the interface first, and then do the shell, whichever. But either way, we could have another Zoom call about the components that you're putting together from the box, and then we could have another Zoom call about the shell if you have any troubles there.
Yeah, no, it looks exciting. I'm sure I'll have more questions, and I'll watch the other video. And yeah, it looks good though.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Kelsey.
Yeah, no, thank you, Jason. This is fun.
All right, so we'll talk soon.
Yeah, see you.
Bye.